Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, and welcome back to another live show. Go ahead and share this on your social media if you want to before we get started here. I'm going to go ahead and share it on mine. Sorry, Sean Coonery rubbed against the laptop and got some fur on the laptop, so I had to remove that. Got a lot of good stuff today, and oops, I failed to set my quality correctly. So let me restart this stream. Stay here, I'll be right back. One of the top topics, and I was hoping, but because of a lot of shipping delays, I was hoping to have the Mavic Pro here on the set today. But I will for sure, 100% sure, have the Mavic Pro next week. So, obviously there's going to be an exhaustive field test, unboxing video, question and answer session with the Mavic Pro on the desk. And as a surprise, I've also got the DJI Phantom 4 Pro, the one with the 4K 60 camera, and that should be here by next weekend. So I'll be featuring it as well. It's it's one of those that, sorry, I had a good catch on the audio. I failed to do the mic. Can you hear me? Should be able to hear me now, I hope. So I didn't have the audio going through there. Okay, so okay, yeah, okay, audio's good. Okay, now we're good. So we'll go ahead and get started with the show. Sorry for all the hiccups again. This is another episode of IrixGuy's live show. If you're unable to watch live, or if you're only able to watch a portion of this evening's show, you can go to IrixGuy.com and you can watch a previously recorded version that will upload after the live show concludes. But this being a live show, all of your comments that you're typing in real time right now within the YouTube's comment area, I can see those and we can chat about whatever. This is IrixGuy's live show, so it's not only drones. It's anything that's entertaining. I mean, it's everything. It's your show, whatever you want it to be. So I've got a few things that I want to throw out in the beginning here, and that's the DJI Mavic Pro, and then also the DJI Phantom 4 Pro. I've got both coming. DJI Mavic Pro I hope to have this week, but because of shipping delays, it's going to be next week. But I will for sure have Mavic Pro next week. I'll for sure have an unboxing video of Mavic Pro. The first exhaustive field test with Mavic Pro. How does it work? First time in the field. Obviously, safe and responsible location. Firmware updated to the most current version at the time of the field test. But just go through it all and see how it performs. And as an added bonus, I also have the DJI Phantom 4 Pro. Now, I did not get the one that comes with the integrated screen. I know that on paper it looks really good. It's supposed to be better than a smartphone, blah, blah, blah. But truthfully, my iPod Touch that I use for my Phantom 3 Pro and my Phantom 4, it worked great. So I saved a little bit, did not go with the Phantom 4 Pro Plus, but just got the Phantom 4 Pro because both of them give you the same camera. The 4K 60 frames per second with a 1-inch sensor. So it's going to be interesting to see how the two compare. And my gut's telling me, I don't know, but my gut's telling me that obviously the video and image quality of the Phantom 4 Pro is going to be far better. But how much better? To be tested. So Lino PR16 says, how long did you have to wait for the Mavic Pro? Well, I'm still waiting. At the time of hosting this live show right now, it should be here the first part of next week. So that's my expectation, unless the delivery truck gets lost on the side of the road or something. It should be here for sure. But I ordered it as soon as it came out. As soon as it came out, same day. So Silverhorse says, I don't own a drone, but want to buy one. What kind would you buy if you were me? Well, I'm going to answer that in probably a weird way. So the first thing I would do is I would ask yourself, is this something you feel that you're going to like for sure, or is it more of a speculative, hey, I may like it, I may not, but even if I like it, I may not even use it that much. If you're kind of on the fence, but you think you may like it, but you don't want to go all in from a money perspective, this is the drone that I would. These are the drones that I would look at first. I'm going to toss a link up here within the chat. So the Phantom 3 series right here, and you can find them all on my 400orbelow.com website. That's a good economical way to test the waters and still get something that's really rock solid. The Phantom 3 series and the Phantom 4 series, there's not a huge difference. Now, sure, with the Phantom 4 Pro, we're getting a 4K 60 frames per second camera. Phantom 4 Pro, if you have disposable money to throw at this hobby, for sure. But even if you have disposable money to throw at the hobby and you're not sure if you are really going to like it, Phantom 3 Pro is awesome. At a high level, between Phantom 4 and Phantom 3 series, with the Phantom 3, you're getting, with the Phantom 3 Pro, you're getting 4K 30 frames per second. And you're getting Light Bridge, which is DJI's proprietary communications technology, so you have a better first-person view experience. With a Phantom 3 4K, you're not getting Light Bridge, so it's using a Wi-Fi type technology instead. So the FPV experience may not be as crisp or as reliable, but you're still getting a camera with 4K 30 frames per second capabilities. And then, Silverhorse says, my computer is not fast enough to edit 4K video. I have an old 27-inch Mac running line. Well, in that scenario, what I would do, look at the link that I shared. Check out the Phantom 3 Standard, which is going to top out at, I think it still tops out at 1080p. Or did they upgrade it to because there's also the Phantom 3 Advanced, which originally came out, it topped out at 1080p. But after a firmware update, it could go to 2.7K. So yeah, look at those two. Look at the Phantom 3 Advanced and the Phantom 3 Standard, because that would be, unless you're wanting to upgrade your computer as well. Now keep in mind, you can do a significant amount of editing on smartphones nowadays as well. But if you want to do video edits, your scenario, you may be looking at 1080p, and I would center around those, because from an in-the-field experience perspective, if you fly a Phantom 3 or a Phantom 4, you're going to feel that the software interface is pretty much the same. Now, obviously, the Phantom 4 series, you get obstacle avoidance. You get that's a safety feature. You get the overall build quality of the drones a little bit better. But either one you go with, man, 3 or 4, it's... I would not have been in this hobby as long as I've been in it if they weren't good drones. And I started with Phantom 1. Now, sure, Phantom 1 through present, huge difference. But there was a big leap when you jump Phantom 1 to Phantom 2 Vision Plus, because Phantom 2 Vision Plus is the first Phantom that had a DJI branded camera mated to it. And it was just so much, in my opinion, so much better of an experience than having a GoPro hanging underneath like I had with the Phantom 1 and the Phantom 2. So, yeah, check out those drones. Pyro Drone says, a 4K 60 frames per second on the Phantom 4 Pro, is that practical for editing and storage? Oh, cool, man. Yeah, Silverhorse, if you have any questions, drop me a line. The best way to get me is my Facebook fan page if there's anything you want to ask. So we're going to get through some comments here. There's a lot of... Pyro Drone, the 4K 60, is it practical for editing and storage? That's what I'm curious about, because just because it's 4K 60, how compressed is the video? Meaning, is it going to take up as much disk space? Is it going to take up twice the amount of space as the same duration 4K 30 frames per second clip? So that's at the top of my list, and actually I'm going to type that in right now to my to-do list for videos. I'm going to do a video where I do 4K 30 frames per second and 4K 60 frames per second file size. So what I'll do is I'll go out in the field, I'll film a 1 minute clip at 4K 30, and then I'll do a 1 minute clip at 4K 60 with the Phantom 4 Pro, and we'll look at the file size, and then we'll also do a side-by-side visual quality comparison. So we'll look at those two clips, how large are they from a storage perspective, and what are the visual differences, if any, that we can distinguish between the two clips. The only difference being the frames per second. So obviously if we retime the video, it should be highly noticeable, but just looking at the video in its raw form, are there any differences? Lino says, Mavic Pro are going for $1,600 on eBay. You know what's funny? So you mentioned that, and so here's the thing. I know in the back of my mind that Mavic Pro is probably going to be, I've always been an advocate of smaller and more lightweight, a more portable drone. A drone that you can casually pick up on your way out the door and say, you know what, even if I don't use it, it's not going to be inconvenient to carry. Versus a Phantom, which is kind of on the edge. It's not too big, it's not too heavy, like an Inspire, but it's large enough to where you're lugging around a backpack or a big bag. So it's not as convenient as a Mavic Pro. But inevitably, it seems that the Mavic Pro is the hot ticket because, either the supply is artificially controlled, or it's actually that hot of an item. My assumption, and I'm in line with a lot of my viewers that shared their opinion, stating that it seems that DJI likely had to announce. Hold on, there's something going on in the studio. Let me check this out. Be right back. Okay, we're all good. I just heard some background noise. I didn't know what was going on. So, is it really in short supply or is it artificial? And I think it's a situation where they had to rush the unveiling of the Mavic Pro because GoPro Karma came out, and when it first was announced, they couldn't have, if they didn't have a small and foldable drone, Karma would have been perceived as being the best option at that point in time. But DJI came out and unveiled and put the Mavic Pro on sale and just crushed the Karma, even before the Karma recall. So, yeah, but $1,600 on eBay. I've been watching eBay too because my plan with my Mavic Pro, because I know there's a lot of people that are just biting at the bit to get one. They got to have it now. They got to have it now. So, since I've got both the Phantom 4 Pro and Mavic Pro, obviously I want to do a comparison of the two. But my gut's telling me that because of the 4K 60, what I may do is end up selling that Mavic Pro on eBay, making some money, and holding on to the Phantom 4 Pro and using it as my drone until the Phantom 5 that's foldable with a as good or better camera comes out. Who knows? Can't accurately predict what will happen in the future, but one can always speculate. So, let's see. Silverore says, I edit with Premiere CS5. That's a good editing program. It's probably, arguably the most popular. Adobe Premiere is the most popular editing program for the PC world. I use Final Cut Pro 10 just because I'm a Mac guy, but I've enjoyed using it. Bobster says, should I buy the Phantom 4 Pro or the Phantom 4 Pro Plus with a built-in screen? Well, I bought the Phantom 4 Pro without the screen. It wasn't just a price thing, but, looking at it from, if this is a drone that I happen to hold on to for a while, which inevitably, my track record, I've been upgrading, but here's my thought process on that. The Phantom 4 Pro Plus that has a screen is more expensive. But put the cost aside. The thing is, if that screen became damaged, it's not a situation where with the Phantom 4 Pro that you just pop in your iPad, your iPod Touch, your iPhone, your Android, whatever. You're married to that device with that controller. Now, does it have a jack where you could plug in? And I haven't had the Phantom 4 Pro Plus controller in my hand, so I'm not sure. But does it have a connection where you could use your own device instead of the device that comes with it. I'm not sure. But I would rather just bring my own device because, why do I want to spend more when I can do the same thing? I haven't had any problem seeing my iPod Touch even in direct sunlight, but I use a sunshade. But, even sometimes without it, it's been fine without, without the sunshade. So I have no doubt that DJI has probably created a screen that, knocks everything out of the park. But is it worth those few $100 extra for me? No. I personally couldn't justify it. Which Mac do I use? Well, I use a couple. This right here is just a bare bones 13-inch MacBook Pro with Retina. But my studio editing rig, and I'm going to toss a link here so you can see that and the storage and everything. It's significantly beefier. A lot beefier, actually. Let's see, I'll get that loaded up here. Be just a second. Almost got it. Okay, so this is the rig right here that I use. My primary studio rig for editing. Now I use this computer I'm on now, the MacBook Pro. I use it for field edits, but Bobster says, I find it difficult looking at my iPad in bright sun, even with a sunshade. But I do like the larger screen. That's why I bought the iPad Air 2, but brighter screen would be great. Yeah, brighter would always be better. I mean, if you could, if the Phantom 4 Pro Plus effectively eliminates the need for a sunshade, even in direct sunlight, it may would be worth the money. I don't know. But I don't like being married to one device. Now, what I could see happening in the future, and this is just speculation, but I could see DJI maybe working to force people into that device. Because remember when the first Phantoms came out, we had the flexibility of using a GoPro with them. But now we're married to DJI cameras. Why wouldn't they cut out the tablet? Why wouldn't they cut out the smartphone or the iPod Touch? Why not force people to buy their product, to buy their screen? And it wouldn't surprise me if that's the business direction they took. So, we may be experiencing them testing the waters right now to see how many people are going to buy that Phantom 4 Pro Plus. If you look at the expected shipping time for the Phantom 4 Pro Plus versus the Phantom 4 Pro without the screen, you'll probably notice there seems to be a longer wait time for the Phantom 4 Pro Plus with the screen. And I think, again, that may just be another sales technique to make it look better than the others. I don't know. I'm not bashing DJI in any way by saying this. They make my favorite drone platform on the market today, and that's the DJI Phantom platform. Again, at the time of posting this, I have not received my Mavic Pro, so my opinion could change, and that could become my top drone. And I'm not a fan of the Inspire. As y'all know, it's too big, it's too heavy. Not my thing. So I've flown it. No, nah. A tour of the studio. Actually, there will be a tour of the studio. It's something I'm going to work on a video. Right now, my studio is it's kind of a mess. So, I want to get all the wires properly wired and make things look good. And Bobster says the Inspire is too big. It's way too big and way too heavy. But if you've got a bottomless budget and you want to attach like a wicked good camera to it, you're flying $15,000-$20,000 in the air, go for it. But that's just not me. So lots of tons of good stuff coming here. I mean, it's very disheartening to not have the Mavic Pro in the studio tonight, because that was my intent. It was going to be here, shipment was going to be on time, but now it's going to be next week. So, it is what it is, but it will be here, and it will be big, be huge. So what else? What else does everyone have here? anything, drone related, channel related, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a live show. I know it's kind of a weird time, and see, this wasn't like most of my shows. This show was not scheduled, so I just hopped on and fired it up and started, doing the live broadcast here. Justin says, I've had a Phantom 3 Standard for 3 weeks. Still haven't flown it yet. Yeah, that's a stupid job, he says. Yeah, that's a problem. And, one thing with these drones, especially, working, multiple jobs. Like, I work multiple jobs, but a lot of the time, I'll try to get out and, just first thing in the morning, be there when the sun rises with drone in hand. Even if it's just a hour flight, just to get that drone in for the day. Because, it's, it's like an early morning jog or early morning walk. You get out there, you start the day right, fly a drone, get some exercise. It's hard to beat. So, yeah, let's see. I just wish I had those things in hand. And what I'm really curious about, I've got a few cases, these waterproof cases right here. And I want to see if the Mavic will fit in something like this. It'd be great, just have something very small and very lightweight to carry the Mavic around. But that may be too small. Here's the case I use for my Phantom 4. Oh, it's big, but it's an awesome case. And anytime I'm traveling where it's going to get wet, and it may get banged around like on an airplane, I think I did freeze up here for a second. Let's see. I have something come in. Yeah, I froze up, but I think that was weird. There must have been a temporary network congestion. I have to check my gateway, see what happened. Nasty Thug says, do you think the Phantom 3 Advanced is obsolete with all the new drones coming out? I don't think the Phantom 3 Advanced is obsolete at all. I think the supply of batteries and that sort of thing may become more challenging to order in the near future. Because that's been DJI's trend. They come out with something newer, and then it becomes difficult to get the previous generation accessories. But I don't see, my gut says that it'll likely be fine for a while. Look at it. You got 1080p, you got 2.7K with the firmware update. It's basically without obstacle avoidance. There's not a lot of difference between it and the Phantom 4 series. The camera on the Phantom 4 Pro is significantly better because it does 4K 60. The camera on the Phantom 4 tops out at 4K 30, but with the Phantom 3 Advanced, you're getting 2.7K. So no, I don't think it's obsolete. I think when we're going to see drones or the DJI Phantom series become obsolete is when they release, whether it's the Phantom 5 or maybe one after that, where they take the best of the Phantom and they take the best of the Mavic and they marry the two and create just the king of all drones. Something that's foldable, something that has a modular camera, something that is maybe a little bit bigger than the Mavic, so that it can could carry a variety of high-end cameras if someone had the budget and the business or then I just said it, business. So if the direction of the new Phantom platform is going for both hobby and or business, then they would need to have modular camera capabilities, and it would need to be able to lift a little bit more than the Mavic. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. No, the Inspire 2 is in my opinion, too big and too heavy. I'm thinking more along the lines of, something DJI Phantom size today. Phantom 4 size, maybe between Phantom 4 and Mavic Pro in size, but something that has a modular camera capability that is not just a huge and heavy thing like the Inspire. I think there's the need for that because there's a lot of people, even if price was the same, let's say Inspire was the same price as Phantom, there'd still be a lot of people that would choose Phantom over the Inspire just because of the size and the weight. So, it's... Tech for Your Needs says, what is a beginner camera you recommend for a beginner YouTuber? Okay, so my question is, are you doing still photos or do you just want to do video? And then also, to add to that question, when you're doing the video, are you doing all the video in your studio or are you doing video outside and in other locations as well? Podman says, is the better camera on the Phantom 4 Pro just on its own a winner, putting it ahead of the Mavic Pro? Well, and again, to be tested, I've got both that will be here next week, Phantom 4 Pro and Mavic Pro. But if the camera performs in the field, as the specs indicate on paper, 4K 60 with a 1-inch sensor, that's going to knock the Phantom 4, the Phantom 3 Pro, and the Mavic Pro in the dirt because you're getting 1-inch sensor, better low light performance, better detail, etc. We'll do the video. We'll see how it looks. We'll see how it compares side by side with the Mavic Pro. But, my expectation is that it's, what am I trying to say? It's going to be a tough decision because what the Phantom 4 Pro and the Mavic Pro have caused me to do, and again, I got both coming, but it's made me think, well, the Mavic Pro, and this is before I've flown either of them, but I'll just go ahead and share these thoughts before we do the exhaustive field test with both. But the Mavic Pro is great because you can just throw it in your, in your backpack or a big pocket or whatever, and you can get out and film. You don't have to feel like you're lugging anything around. It's basically, it should feel the same as carrying a big DSLR camera with a lens. No difference. But then you've got the Phantom 4 Pro. Still DJI Phantom platform, not too big and not too heavy, but just big and heavy enough to be semi-inconvenient. To make you say, do I really want to take that with me? No, I'll just go out today without a drone. Whereas in that scenario, you would probably pack the Mavic, but you wouldn't pack the Phantom. But if you're looking at it, if you know you're going somewhere and you want to get the absolute best video quality possible, then it would be hard to take the Mavic because, well, the field of view, the camera's field of view on the Mavic is not as wide. The camera on the Mavic does not have, a 1-inch sensor. It tops out at 4K 30. So you're not getting a lot from a camera perspective. There's so much more you're getting with the Phantom 4 Pro. Now, if it was just comparing Phantom 4 to Mavic, it's more challenging. But with the Phantom 4 Pro, with that new wicked good camera on paper to be tested, with an Exmor sensor, it makes it tough. And the other thing, without having flown the Mavic yet, the thing that concerns me about the Mavic is the tap to focus. How many times would I be in a position where I really want to capture some footage and I forget to tap? I know it sounds dumb, but it's these things that come together here. Brad says, I always am able to watch your live shows at work. I'm sure you remember me. Welcome aboard, dude. That's good, man. You got, I keep all of this content safe for work. So that's good. That's awesome. Hey, share with everyone else too. Tell everybody, wherever you work, tell everybody there, be like, look, subscribe. Because they need to. Got to grow this viewership, Okay, Tech for Your Needs says video studio 95%, rest outside. So I was going to recommend a webcam if you said all inside. But since you've got a combination of both, there's a camera. Let me load it here. I'll send you a link. I'll send a link to the chat here. Be just a second while I load that up. Almost got it. Okay, almost got it. This is kind of a good... I like this camera because it's not... it's easy to use handheld. It's got optical image stabilization. So it's good for walking around and... and having extra stability. It's got a good zoom. It's got a Zeiss lens on it. And you can also attach external microphones. So if you want to, the built-in audio quality is pretty good for a camcorder. But you can pop a Sony mic on the top and make it even better. And it'll do 4K. So it's a semi-future-proof camcorder. That's something I would recommend. Let's see. Steven says, did you change your mind in buying the Phantom 4 Pro? I did. Because initially I was like, you know what, I'm not going to get the Phantom 4 Pro. But, I'll be frank with you. Ultimately, what convinced me to go ahead and get the Phantom 4 Pro is that the Mavic Pro is in such high demand, like a viewer previously indicated during this live show, that the Mavic Pro is going for an insanely high amount on eBay right now. My expectation is that I'm going to use both, and then I'm going to sell the one I don't like. And my gut's telling me that because of the camera that's on the Phantom 4 Pro, that's probably where I'll stay, is Phantom 4 Pro. And I'll probably sell the Mavic Pro and then wait for the next iteration of DJI to come out, which I believe will be a combination of the two. Something smaller than the Phantom, but collapsible like the Mavic Pro, but offer that pro quality camera option like we're getting with the Phantom 4 Pro. 4K 60 frames per second with a 1-inch sensor. That's impressive on paper. It really is. Again, to be tested. So we got a lot of good comments coming in here. Let's see. What else we got? What other topics of interest? Hey, Sean Coonery, come up here. Sean Coonery entered the studio. He said he may have some personal things to say about drones. Sean Coonery, come up here. Your viewers want to talk to you. Have you attached your 360 camera to your drone yet? I have not, but that's on my to-do list with the Phantom 4 Pro. I don't know if the Mavic Pro would be able to lift it. It's really a shame that 360 camera technologies have not evolved as rapidly as people would have wanted, because it is a cool technology. I've heard from several people. There was one coming out. I never picked it up. It was a Nikon. Nikon makes rock solid stuff, but I've heard a lot of negative things about the Nikon Key Mission, the 4K spherical. So I'm probably not going to get one. But if we could get a true 4K spherical camera that didn't produce degraded quality, I think that would be, that would be awesome to be able to see, a drone flight in true 4K 360-degree spherical video. But I'll attach my little spherical camera. I got the little LG one, this one right here. Get a link to it, but I'll attach this one to the drone and see. It's not going to be on a gimbal or anything, but it'll be interesting to see how it performs in the air. And why DJI has not developed a 360-degree drone camera. It blows my mind. I mean, why not do it? I mean, it would be really cool. And there's a lot of people out there. I'm sure there's a lot of y'all, and I know I definitely want one. And I don't know why they haven't done it. I mean, they're in the business to make money. Why don't they put something out there that people would want to buy? I mean, it'd be cool. Give us a modular camera, Phantom 5. Let us buy an infrared camera, spherical camera, all other types of cameras. I mean, it'd be really cool. Yeah, that's the LG cam right there, the little link I just posted. I mean, it's cool. I look at it more as a proof of concept where the technology may be heading if it doesn't become stagnant before the big tech companies really innovate. That's the problem now. They've got the proof of concept, but everybody that watches it are like, well, that was neat, but the video quality is not that good, or the audio quality is not that good. Most importantly, there's not a good editing solution at this point in time for 360-degree spherical content. So it's like you can film it, but you can't do much to customize it, and that's kind of a bummer. But it's still fun. I mean, I've got, check out my Facebook page, and you'll see some videos and also still photos. I was on an island in the British West Indies, and it was a tiny island, probably, 80 feet across and, a few hundred feet long. And I took the LG cam out there, and I got some cool stuff. Again, the quality's not that great, but it was just the perspective. You could really see, you could see the environment in a, from a different perspective because it's in 360. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, Justin says haven't messed with it much either. Yeah, it's a cool proof of concept, but it's not. Bobster says they need to invent a sphere TV first. You know what? I was actually thinking about that a few weeks ago. If you were in a dark room and you walked in, kind of opened a door like you do a refrigerator, and then you close it, and that room is just a TV that surrounds you. That would be cool. And I mean, the cost of these TVs now, they're continuing to drop. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be too astronomical to create, and it would be a lot better. That's the drawback. I mean, when you're watching a spherical video or looking at a spherical photo on a phone, it's a cool user experience because you move it around. You put those VR goggles on, most everybody that uses those is going to make you feel sick. But imagine being in a room, like you said, your IMAX at home. I mean, that's basically what it would be. It would be your, IMAX in your living room. I mean, that'd be a really cool experience. Why they haven't done it, I guess they're just waiting. Justin said it's called VR. Yep. Yeah, like goggles, you can watch YouTube movies. Yeah, it's I just the VR to experience it optimally with the goggles is just not. Unfortunately for me, it's not optimal. It just makes you feel sick. If y'all want to watch some 360 videos, you can load them up. Let me get a good one here. I've got several of them on my channel. I said YouTube 360. Let's see, I'll get one. Yeah, here's a 360 video right here. I use a Sony AX100 to film a local high school football team. AX100, I use that for a while. That is a rock solid camera. What's amazing is that you get that level of quality out of a handheld camcorder, and you don't have to deal with something larger like a Nex or something. Do you sail to those islands in your boat? or do you rent your own boat? Well, it depends where I am, because certain places I don't have a boat, so some places you got to rent a boat and get to and from. But a lot of times I'm in my own boat. That's one of my favorite things, is doing the. Hey, Sean Coonery, come up here. Come on up here. You got viewers. He's sitting in the corner of the studio. He said he'll come up and say hello. Hold on. So there is Sean Coonery, the enormous cat. Yep. So what else we got going on? We got drones. We got cat celebrity right here. He's got some fur on his face. Get that off there. Sorry about that. Well, if you're talking about the most recent, the one where I did. Let me load a video up here. My Mavic will be here for sure by Tuesday. So as soon as I get it, I'll have the unboxing video and the first field test. So that'll be next week for sure. How long does it take you to get there in your boat? It depends on where I'm going. This particular island, let me load it up here. You're knocking my screen down. Yeah, this island right here is, you can check out this video. It's an island that was made popular by Justin Bieber. He goes out there and visits. But that island, that only takes me from Anguilla. I mean, it's just right off the shore. I mean, it's literally about a 15-minute boat ride at most. So, I mean, it's not a long ride. Deborah says, I have a Maine Coon too. He's gray. Gray Maine Coons are the best. Sean Coonery personally agrees. And he is rubbing against the microphone. He said he wants to talk about drones. So yeah, he may be on the he may be doing some field tests of drones. That's one thing, you've never seen a cat fly a drone. But he said he's personally determined to fly the DJI Mavic Pro. He said the Phantom 4 Pro, he may try it, but he said the controller may be too big for his paws. But he may try it anyway. So what else we got going on here? We got drones, we got big Maine Coon cats. We got we got a bunch of goodness coming next week. Smokey Joe, that's a good name for a cat. Smokey Joe. Are you okay? Brad says, are you okay with the Phantom control size? Yeah, the Phantom 4 controller, I feel that it's manageable. But, looking at it from a design perspective, what would be cool, they can do the same range with the Mavic Pro as they can the Phantom 4 Pro and the Phantom 4. So wouldn't it be cool if they released a controller like the Mavic has that you could use with your Phantom if you wanted to be a little bit lighter and a little bit more compact when you're taking your Phantom to and from the field? Yeah, Brad, I was talking to the camera when you said that. That's what I think. I think that's That would seem to make sense. They definitely should do that. Bobster says, Anguilla, I filmed the Wolf of Wall Street's wedding there. Which part of Anguilla? That's a cool place. Brad says, do you think they... Yeah, Nasty Thug, did they tell you when your Phantom will arrive? Yep, I will have Phantom 4 Pro and DJI Mavic Pro next week for sure. Unless there's some sort of natural disaster, which hopefully there won't be. Silverhorse says, what kind of external hard drives do you use? I've got a link to that right here. Let me get it for you, Silverhorse. Be just a second. And that's the thing with 4K video, it takes a lot of storage. And keep in mind, if you're storing it and it's stuff of value, you want to have a backup. So, you know, my storage is basically doubled because I've got the primary that I use to edit, and then I've got the secondary array that backs up my primary in case there's a hard disk failure or, you know, whatever. You know, I shouldn't lose it. I should have a backup. Let's see, I'm getting that hard drive information for you right now. It'll be just a second. Sorry, I've got so many things on here, it's like, it's hard to find it, but it's here. Yeah, so here's my external storage right here. Be just a second. Yeah, so that's the external storage. Deborah says, I want to get a drone, but I'd crash it. You know what? That's the expectation. Every time I take it up in the air, I expect it to never return. Obviously, if it crashes, it'll crash in a safe and responsible location. But that's my expectation every time I fly, that I'll never see it again. Silverhorse says, what camera are you using to film right now? I'm using this camera. Be just a second. Get you a link. And this quality probably is slightly degraded because it is being streamed. But once this video finishes, once the live show concludes and it becomes an uploaded YouTube video, the quality will probably be better. Still tops out at 1080p, but this is the camera that I'm using right now. This one right here. That camera. Sean Coonery is 7 years old. Hey, Sean Coonery. Yep. Thanks, Justin. Yeah. Sean Coonery agrees. He said it's the best name. Let's see. Bobster says, I don't really remember the exact place, but we landed in St. Martin first, then a boat to that island. The 747 was chartered just for us and the wedding party. That's really cool. So the Wolf of Wall Street wedding, that I never knew that was on. I have to load that scene up. I love that movie. I just can't remember. I didn't remember there being a beach for the wedding. I'm going to have to watch that again. You got my curiosity. That's really cool. Very cool. Even cooler that you filmed the wedding. If you want to send me, if you want to send to IrixGuy's Adventure Channel an autographed copy of Wolf of Wall Street, that would be absolutely incredible. I'd give you a big shout out on the channel, to say the least. Justin says, need a Scottish meow out of him. LSW Games. LSW Games says, hey, is just want to give you a heads up. My name is Sarah in your girl's phone. Okay? Bobster says, yeah, eventually he went to jail right after. That's funny. I bet that was cool to film and cool to see the... what other movies have you filmed? Hey, Sean Coonery, come back. Okay, we're about an hour in here. It's been a fun show. Sorry, kind of short notice, but next week is going to be huge. It's going to be huge with all the Mavic Pro and the Phantom 4 Pro. But, yeah, I got to... Oh, you didn't film the movie, but you filmed the actual wedding. Oh, cool. So was it a real wedding or was it a movie? Was it a wedding in the movie? Yep, so it's been a fun show. Thanks everyone for tuning in here. I got to get got a few things I'm working on concurrently, so I got to get to that and get all that out of the way so that next week I can have the DJI Mavic Pro and the Phantom 4 Pro thoroughly tested. So thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe. YouTube.com/IrixGuy. And follow me on other social media too. Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram /IrixGuy. Y'all have a good day.